Let me take you back to a beautiful day this past August. We had a beautiful August, didn't we? It was magnificent weather. Other than June, I think it was a little rainy. Everything else has been magnificent. Ashira, the kids, and I were at a park, kicking a soccer ball around, lying on the grass, playing cards, and generally just relaxing. The weather was perfect, and it was one of those kind of days where the hours just passed so beautifully. Before you knew it, it was time to leave. When it was finally time to go, we noticed that the back of one of my children's shirts was covered in big splotches of green. I'm sure you've been there. Goose poop, right? This is very familiar in Western New York. This, of course, was their favorite shirt. And they had somewhere to go right away that they needed a good shirt. I was just heading home. So what to do? I looked down at my wonderfully clean Buffalo Bills shirt. Of course I was wearing a Buffalo Bills shirt. And the choice was obvious. And that is how I found myself driving home in a shirt 2 sizes too small with its back covered in goose poop. There was something about this experience, though, that made me happy. I had often heard of the mitzvah, and it is a mitzvah, as we'll see, of giving the shirt off of your back. But I believe this was the first time I ever had a chance to test it out. The moment felt so profound. Being able to literally give the shirt off my back to someone I loved made me so happy as a parent, as a Jew, and just as a human being. What is it about us as human beings that so many of us are willing to step in at a moment's notice, not just for family members or community members, but for complete strangers? More than just lending a shirt, we willingly give our time, energy, money towards people and causes that matter, even if we aren't personally attached to them. This winter, we saw this firsthand as 3 feet of snow blanketed our region in less than 24 hours. And ungodly winds, it must have been 100-mile-per-hour winds, swirled around us, cutting us off from airports, highways, and even our front doors. How many of you were here in Buffalo during the blizzard? It was quite something, right? This was no mere blizzard. This was a Buffalo blizzard. Tens of thousands of us, including many of you, as you sowed, were kept without power for days. Trapped, cold, scared, and alone. It was in this moment of biblical calamity that something amazing happened. People found each other. People helped each other. People saved each other. Piloting snowmobiles, trekking around in snowshoes or skis, private citizens stepped in where the government often could not. 47 people lost their lives, including one of my neighbors, but countless others would have died if not for the quick action and huge hearts of all of you, Western New Yorkers. In the midst of this, a small Facebook group started during the storm of 2014, that's the one that made sure our highways were closed correctly, named Aaron Aquilina, grew from just 700 members to 7,000 members to 70,000 members. Erin, together with her friends Kristen, Erica, Jackie, and Lynn, curated thousands and thousands of posts. Erin's Facebook page became a lifeline to people throughout the region. How many of you had a chance to see that during the storm? My wife, Ashira, she alerts me to all these kind of things. There were desperate people like a woman who thought she had talked to her brother for the very last time as he frantically sought shelter on Jefferson and Broadway. He told her on the phone he didn't think he could hold on much longer. When the overwhelmed National Guardsmen, 911 operators could offer no meaningful response, a man on the Facebook page said he lived nearby. That man personally went out and brought the brother to safety. There was another situation where a woman was in labor and could not get to the hospital. The Facebook group connected her to a pair of doulas who guided her through the phone and helped her to have a safe and healthy child. In another case, and this really did seem biblical, a family actually brought in a body of someone who died into their home and kept it there until the authorities could safely take it back. There were hundreds of other desperate situations. Diabetes patients in need of medication, new parents looking for baby formula, wheelchair-bound individuals caught without caretakers, and people without heat looking for shelter. Each and every time, people came forward. Not just one person, but dozens and dozens and dozens of individuals, all complete strangers, whose only link was this particular Facebook group. Watching it unfold in real time was absolutely awe-inspiring. And this was only a small fraction of the acts of chesed, loving kindness, over those harrowing 5 days. Just by show of hands, how many of you were helped by someone during the storm? How many of you helped someone? What is it that inspired many of us to do so much, often risking life and limb for people they had never met before? More than just offering a shirt, people had been willing to give their full selves, even at the risk of their own lives. Charles Fritz, a U.S. Air Force captain in World War II, led a team of researchers in the early 1970s into disaster-struck areas around the world to conduct interviews. All in all, they conducted 9,000 interviews. Disasters, he proposed, created a quote-unquote community of sufferers that allows individuals to experience an immensely reassuring connection to others. This type of community erases societal inequalities and creates a temporary social utopia. This is exactly what happened to us during the blizzard when we became a community of sufferers. You know, another time this happened, the one time in the last few decades when situations of mental health illness went down more than they ever did. Do you know what time that was? 9/11. For 2 years, there was that spike in society where people felt differently. Reporter and author Sebastian Junger writes that the willingness to give something vital to people we barely know is an essential part of what it means to be human. Based on his experiences in Afghanistan and other war-torn areas, Junger writes, humans don't mind hardship. In fact, they thrive on it. What they mind is not feeling necessary. In a way, those of you that are fasting, that's what we're doing. We're creating hardship and meaning at the same time. The rabbis have a concept called pikuach nefesh, to save a life. Normally, we think of this as an out for observant Jews, if the rules of our tradition place them or someone they know at risk. Pikuach nefesh, for example, is the rule that enables, this is true, pregnant women to eat pork, doctors to work on Shabbat, and astronauts in space, my dad always brought this up for some reason, to use electricity. Saving a life comes first, no matter what. But the example the rabbis used in the Talmud is a child who falls into the water or a deep pit. The Talmud in Tractate Yoma 84b, in both of these cases, tells us that one does not wait for a court of law to decide what to do. Instead, one who is vigilant and acts quickly is praiseworthy. As the rabbis remind us in a line from the Torah portion we read tomorrow afternoon in Leviticus 18, Chai bahem, live by them, to which the rabbis infer and not die by them. If saving one's life is like saving one life is saving the whole world, the rabbis say, then standing by as another person's life is at risk is like potentially destroying the world. We must be there for one another no matter what. Junger tells the story of a true pikuach nefesh moment he had as a young college graduate that stayed with him throughout his life. He was hitchhiking across the Northwest as a way of escaping what he felt was the predictable life in a Boston suburb. He wanted a chance to prove his worth to family and friends. In the middle of the journey by a highway overpass in Wyoming, he noticed a bedraggled man approaching him. He got afraid. He tensed up. He expected in this moment he was going to get robbed. What happened next absolutely blew him away. After questioning Junger about what supplies he had, young man, what do you got there? Where are you going? He said, California. What do you have? A piece of cheese. Then this unhoused man did something completely unexpected. He handed Junger a lunchbox with a bologna sandwich and a bag of potato chips, the only food he had in the world. The incident stayed with him the rest of his life and became the foundation of his book that Cantor Frank introduced me to, actually.
I was going to say,
Tribe, yeah.
Unfamiliar.
Yeah. This is a wonderful book, well written. It's called Tribe and on Homecoming and Belonging. And I'll put it in our library if anyone wants to take it. In it, Junger suggests that your tribe are the people that you feel compelled to share the last of your food with. The term he uses is a tribe. And of course, that stood out to me as a rabbi. Jews and Judaism can be called many things. We're a faith, a religion, a nationality, ethnicity, a civilization. But we can also be called a tribe. And adapting the definition in the book to our community, perhaps we best define ourselves in one simple way. We Jews are people that are a collection of people willing to give the shirt off of our back to anyone who needs. More than Torah, Talmud, tradition, prayer, this is the way we can describe ourselves standing on one foot. Watching you, my beautiful congregation aside, please don't blush. I have seen the generous spirit that infects this place. Again and again and again, over the course of this year, members of our community have brought meals to the homebound, helped individuals experiencing medical crisis get to safety, offered an ear to listen, a shoulder to cry on, a meal to eat, a stranger and friends alike. We do this not only for one another, but to whoever walks through our door. 11 years ago, during our first high holidays, I invoked the memory of the three spiritual leaders who set the foundation of who we are. Nathan Gaynor, who was the first rabbi of Temple Sinai, Daniel Kerman, who's the sanctuary is named after, the first rabbi of Temple Beth Am, and Cantor Susan Whaley. Each of these individual peoples worked tirelessly to support the needs of our members, pouring their hearts and souls into making our lives better. And each of these individuals died tragically young. I called them our Malachei Hasharet, our ministering angels. And that first Yom Kippur together as Congregation Shir Shalom, I invoke their memory, calling out in their names, we were there for you. We were there for you. Now be there for each other. That was my hope and dream for this new community when we officially incorporated in 2012. to be a community of compassion, of kindness, and generosity. For us truly to be, as Psalm 97 tells us, Or zarua lat tzadikim u'liyishrei lev simcha, a light to the just, a joyous reminder to the upright. And I can honestly say with my full heart that here in 5784, this is more than just who we aspire to be. This is who we have become. This past year has been a hard year for myself and my family. We have gone through a lot of health concerns and post-pandemic struggles. Because of this, I haven't always felt my best. Sometimes I have come into the office feeling less than ready to do the duties of the day. I have not always felt the usual spark that I normally feel as a rabbi. This is disappointing to me because I don't want to disappoint you. And yet, as deflating as it has been, I could not really ever get discouraged. But each time I even thought of being discouraged, one of you would step up to the plate. Whether it was Cantor, who worked tirelessly to make every single Friday night and our holidays beautiful, and I really appreciate all the hard work she put into that. Joanne being here every second of the day, at any hour, literally. Nancy and Renee, always going above and beyond. Our executive committee and board of directors, Todd, who's not here, who literally was in this building every single minute to make sure it was ready for Rosh Hashanah. And our Shavetas team, the women of Shir Shalom, men's group, worship, community religious school, our new adult education, social action committees. Yay, we finally have them. I would list names, but basically it would be every single person here. When I was at my lowest, it was all of you, as the psalmist said, Min ha-metzer karatiya. From the depths, Yah called out to me, Anani b'merkavah, and you and God answered me from the emptiness. Thankfully, I'm doing much better, and I can't thank our board and community enough for all the support my family has been given along the way. Today is the day where we demonstrate our accountability to one another and to the greater world. To that end, if there's anything that I have done personally to hurt any of you, especially this year, I hope you'll forgive me. I'm truly sorry. As Isaiah admonished our ancestors thousands of years ago in the Haftorah of Yom Kippur, is this the fast I desire? A day to starve ourselves, bow our heads like a bulrush, to lie in sackcloth and ashes? No, this is the fast I desire. To unlock the fetters of the wickedness, to untie the cords of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. It is to share your bread with the hungry and to take the wretched poor into your home. And when you see the naked, clothe them. I told you it was a mitzvah. This last line is, after all, to give the shirt off your back. And as a reminder and as a gratitude, I have a present for all of you here today. It is a little sticker which says, I'd give you the shirt off my back. You can put it, as Shira showed me, you can put it on your water bottle. It works very well. Or on you, or you could give it to someone. It's completely up to you. We'll have it ready for you after services. And this is a little token of who you are, and you should be very, very proud of it. I want to thank Seth Green and his company, Market Domination, for preparing this wonderful thing for me. But really, it's wonderful, and I really appreciate all your love and support. Gemar Chatima Tova. May you be written and sealed in the book of life, an easy and meaningful Yom Kippur.